Welcome to Clearbrook Elementary's 2021 virtual Remembrance Day Assembly.
Bienvenue à notre assemblée virtuelle pour le jour de souvenir.
It is traditional to begin our assembly with the singing of O Canada. Once O Canada is finished, we will have you be seated in your classroom. Can everyone please rise for the singing of O Canada?
On va chanter l'hymne national en anglais et puis en français.
We acknowledge that the Abbotsford School District is located on the traditional territory of the Solo people, the Sumat and Nasqueam First Nation. With this, we respect the long-standing relationships that Indigenous nations have to this land, as they are the original caretakers.
We acknowledge historical and outgoing injustices that the Indigenous peoples endure in Canada, and we accept responsibility as a public educational institution of contribute towards revealing and correcting miseducation, as well as renewing respectful relationships with Indigenous communities through our teaching and community engagement.
Good morning, Clearbrook Elementary. Bonjour, École Clearbrook. Welcome to our virtual Remembrance Day Assembly. Today we are watching this assembly virtually in our classrooms to learn more about Remembrance Day. This is a somber assembly. This means this is a serious and sad assembly. We do not clap or cheer after performances. Please listen quietly and respectfully during this video. Every year, on November 11th, Canadians take time out of their day to honor and remember the men and women who have served and continue to serve Canada during times of war, conflict, and peace. Remembrance Day started in Britain over 100 years ago, after the end of the First Great World War. Canada has been honoring Remembrance Day since 1931, 90 years ago. On Remembrance Day, we wear poppies. We wear poppies on our left, close to our heart, to recognize the sacrifice of soldiers in times of war. Boys and girls, we are so very lucky to live in Canada. In Canada, we have rights and freedoms that many boys and girls who live in other parts of the world do not. In Canada, you have the right to go to school. In some countries, boys, and especially girls, are not allowed to go to school even though they really want to learn. They are told they are not allowed to learn to read. In Canada, you have the freedom to ride your bike, join a soccer team, or go to the playground with your friends and family after school. In some countries, it's not safe for boys and girls to play outside. In Canada, you have the right and freedom to choose where your family lives, how you dress, what music you listen to, if you practice a religion, what language you speak at home. There are some places in the world that boys and girls are not allowed to make these choices. In Canada, we have the right to health care. Doctors, nurses, healthcare workers, and emergency responders help take care of us when we are sick. In Canada, we have the right to be safe and protected from people who may want to hurt us. We have a government, laws, the armed forces, and the police. Our Abbotsford Police Department does an excellent job protecting us and keeping us safe. We are all very privileged to live in Canada. This is why, every November, we honor the people who have helped keep Canada the beautiful country it is today. Boys and girls, lest we forget.
Thank you, Mrs. Hopkins.
Remembrance Day is one of the most important days of the year. It is a day where we reflect and thank those that fought for our freedom. Please listen as these soldiers explain the importance of Remembrance Day.
Le jour de souvenir est une journée très importante. C'est une journée pour souvenir et remercier ceux qui se sont battus pour la liberté. Écoutez ces soldats qui expliquent l'importance du jour de souvenir.
For me, I would say it's an obligation to remember my friends who passed.
When I got back from Afghanistan, Remembrance Day was really hard for me.
I always think back to the guys that I went to school with that aren't with us anymore.
My squadron lost 83 bombers, 8 or 9 boys never plane.
To keep their memories ready, to keep their memories alive, to keep their memories with us, we have to remember them.
Knowing the sacrifices that some of my soldiers have made, the ultimate sacrifice in some cases. Remembrance Day it brings it all together for us.
Remembrance Day for me is probably the most important day of the year.
Many things. Everything.
When I went to Afghanistan, going out the gate the first time, I was like, this is it.
Our death toll for the police was around 70 to 100 police officers a month.
They're gone. And I'm here, one of the lucky ones.
I rushed in to pick him up, and I stepped on a lead mine and I went up.
These 5 Afghan women had walked by. They unveiled their faces and they walked by and they waved. Them doing that really showed us that we were doing our job and that they didn't have any fear of the Taliban.
Whenever I see young people, I educate them, show them what is the importance of being in services.
In Remembrance Day, we pay tribute to those who stepped up and did what needed to be done.
I think the young folks of today have got to realize that it's not about warmongering, it's not about, anything like that. It's the fact that, there are so many people in the world that are helpless, that need protection.
Give a little thanks, to celebrate them, and to feel for whatever hardships they've gone through, basically because they've done it for these young people so that they could live.
It has to be told on the emotional side so that they understand that there was a reason for it. The reason for it was is basically to protect our families and our country.
I'm really honored when the kids come out and want to shake my hand and say thank you for what you did.
Remembrance Day is about remembering those who signed up and essentially wrote a check to say, I'm giving you everything.
Did you know that Indigenous Canadians serve in the military at a higher rate than any other group in Canada?
More than 4,000 Indigenous people served Canada in the First World War. First Nations, Métis, and the Inuit people have served Canada in all the wars and peacekeeping missions that Canada has been involved in. First Nations people from various groups participated, including the Cree, Haida, Blackfoot, and many more.
On this Remembrance Day, we remember the Aboriginal people that lost their lives and those that continue to serve for this great nation of Canada.
The National Indigenous Veterans Monument was created in 2001 to symbolize and honor the contributions of all Indigenous Canadians in war peacekeeping missions. On this monument, the eagle is the highest point of the sculpture. It symbolizes the creator of the Thunderbird and stands for the strong spirit of Canada's Indigenous people.
The monument has great meaning. Indigenous peoples are connected closely with the land. The wolf has the spirit to guide family values. The elk represents stamina and never giving up. The bear symbolizes strength and healing power. And the buffalo represents the connection to their earth. All of these values and traits were needed during battle to preserve and successfully fight for Canadian peace and freedom.
On November 11th, we remember all the soldiers, including our Indigenous people, that made the ultimate sacrifice. Thank you to our Indigenous brothers and sisters that served and continue to serve this great nation. This video outlines some examples how of the Indigenous people helped serve Canada in the wars.
Next, students from Mrs. Rossi's grade 4 and 5 class will read you a story about the poppy.
On va lire une histoire sur le coquelicot.
A little over 100 years ago, there was a war. It was called World War I, or the Great War. It began on July 28, 1914. Men and women from all over Canada went to the war. The soldiers who fought in this war were very brave and very young. Some of the soldiers were only 15 years old. In the battlefield where the soldiers were fighting, poppies just like me started to grow everywhere. The poppies grew right out of the mud and dirt.
A Canadian soldier and doctor named Lieutenant Colonel John McCrae noticed this too. Poppies were growing even where the soldiers were fighting.
So he decided to write a poem about these poppies. His poem was called In Flanders Fields. Flanders Fields was one of the places where the soldiers were fighting.
His poem honored all the brave men and women who fought in the war. Many of the soldiers died in that war. People everywhere loved his poem.
Some of the soldiers who died are buried in Flanders fields, and between each of their crosses the poppies grow. World War I ended on November 11th at 11 o'clock in the year 1918. It had lasted for 4 years. Finally, the soldiers could come home.
Once the war was over, people all over the world started to draw poppies just like me onto paper. They colored them and cut them out. Then they sold them for money. This money was to help soldiers coming home after the war.
The poppies started to be really popular in 1921. 3 years after World War ended, the Great War Veterans Association decided to make the poppy Canada's official symbol of remembrance. Canada had its first Poppy Day on November 11, 1921. Today, people in Canada wear those same paper poppies on their suits, coats, jackets, shirts, and sometimes even on their hats. Now, poppies are made from plastic, and the soldiers who once fought in wars helped make these poppies.
I am a symbol. When you see me, it reminds you of the brave men and women who saved your country and gave you the freedom that you have today.
We call these brave men and women veterans. They are our heroes. These veterans are wearing poppies over their hearts, which is how most people wear them. Every year since World War I ended, we take time on the 11th of November to honor and remember the soldiers who fought not just in World War I, but in all wars. We call this day Remembrance Day.
On Remembrance Day at 11 o'clock in the morning, we stop everything we are doing and stay silent for 1 minute. We wear a poppy and think about those courageous soldiers that went to war. Canada will never forget the bravery of its veterans and all the soldiers of today. This place is called the Cenotaph. It is in Ottawa, Canada's capital. Can you see all the poppies there?
Here is a picture of the real Flanders fields. We look at all the poppies grow between the soldiers' graves. Here is the Remembrance Day quarter. It has 2 red poppies on it. In the middle is a Canadian soldier, and the maple leaf. This quarter is made to honor our veterans. In November, we remember kids just like you wear a poppy. This little girl is saluting just like soldiers and veterans do. This Remembrance Day, if you see a veteran, you can shake hands and say thank you for keeping Canada safe for kids just like you. Now, whenever you see me, you will know how I came to be the symbol of remembrance in Canada. This year is an important year because it was in 1921, 100 years ago, that the poppy was first recognized as a symbol of Remembrance Day. Madame Guerin of France first proposed a poppy day, and it became the symbol of Remembrance Day on July 6, 1921.
Cette année est importante parce que en 1921, au passé, le coquelicot était reconnu de cette manière.
Madame Bukovas's kindergarten and grade 1 class would now like to share with us a poem called Le 11 Novembre. It's about a pretty poppy for you and me and for all the soldiers.
Voici un coquelicot, un joli coquelicot. Pour toi, pour moi,
Thank you. That was great.
During the Remembrance Day Assembly, it is important for everyone to understand the hardship and sacrifice that all of our Canadian men and women went through in order to fight for Canadian freedom.
This next video is called A Soldier's Cry.
Talk of trouble is sent through the country, and we need an army to fight for the right. Young men enlist and are sent to the battle to fight the offender and help our allies. And the young men cry, "Oh Canada, we'll gladly go and fight for thee." And the young men cry, "Oh Canada, we'll fight to keep you free." The battle's raging, gunfire is blazing. A tired young soldier is clinging to life. He's ordered on and obeys by advancing. No hope of returning from the enemy fire. And the soldier cries, "Oh Canada, if it must be so, I'll die for thee." And the soldier cries, "Oh Canada, I'll die to keep you free." And we own this, oh Canada, the land where we all used to be. And we all long for Canada, the true north, strong and free. The soldier cries, "Oh Canada, if it must be so, I'll die for thee." And the soldier cries, "Oh Canada, I'll die to keep you free." Far away we have seen a great danger, and yet there's a danger much greater within. The noise we make as we constantly bicker would hush not a whisper if we listen to hear all the thousands cry, "Oh Canada, is that why we have died for thee?" And the soldiers cry, "Oh Canada, we died to keep you free." And the soldier cries, "Oh Canada, be true and strong for me."
In Flanders Fields, one of history's most famous wartime poems, was written in 1915 during the First World War by Canadian officer and surgeon John McCrae. It helped popularize the red poppy as a symbol of remembrance. We now invite Mrs. Rossi's class to read this poem for us in English, followed by Madame Kelso's class in French.
Au champ d'honneur.
In Flanders Fields,
In Flanders fields the poppies blow, between the crosses row on row, that mark our place, and in the sky the larks still bravely singing fly. Spurs heard and then the guns below. We are the dead, short days ago. We lived, fell born, saw sunset glow, loved and were loved, and now we lie in Flanders fields. Take up our quarrel with the foe, to you from failing hands we throw. The torch be yours to hold it high. If ye break faith with us who died, we shall not sleep though poppies grow in Flanders fields.
May 1950.
Au chant d'honneur, les coquelicots sont parsemés de l'eau en l'eau. Auprès des croix et dans l'espace, les alouettes de rivage mélangent sifflement des arbustières. Nous sommes morts, nous y soignons la veille encore. À nos parents, à nos amis, c'est nous qui reposons ici, au champ d'honneur. À vous, jeunes des Abysses, à vous de porter dans les flammes et de garder au fond de l'âme le goût de vivre en liberté. Acceptez le dépit, sinon les coquelicots se verront au champ d'honneur.
Thank you, merci.
When a soldier makes the ultimate sacrifice, they're driven down the highway of heroes to their final resting place. The highway of heroes has been used for soldiers and police officers that have died in the line of duty. We thank all the people that serve in order to keep us safe and fight for peace. This video is called A Highway of Heroes.
The day I shipped out, they numbered a dozen. Upon my return, we're 100 or so. From the coast and from the prairies, I bet they keep coming. Add one more name from Ontario and carry me home down the highway of heroes. People above with the flags flying low. Carry me softly down the highway of heroes. True patriot love, there was never more. I served with distinction, no visions of glory. I served without question of personal gain. Seek no justification, it's not part of my story, and it offers no comfort to the ones who remain. Just carry me home down the highway of heroes. People above, but the flags flying low. Carry me softly down the highway of heroes. True patriot love, there was never more.
I missed you too.
Took up my vocation, I was called by my nation without hesitation. My answer I gave. Now I'm not wondering the things that I might have been are no consolation to the forgotten brave. So carry me home down the highway of heroes. People above with the flags flying low. Carry patriot love. There was never more. Carry me home down the highway of heroes. People I love with their hands on low. And carry me softly down the highway of heroes. True patriot love. There was never more. 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 There was never more.
Remembrance Day is an important day for all Canadians and many countries around the world. It is on this day that we remember the men and women that made the ultimate sacrifice and lost their lives fighting for our freedom and safety. On November 11th at 11 o'clock a.m., there will be hundreds of ceremonies taking place across Canada. Whether or not you have the chance to attend one of these ceremonies or not, please take time to remember those men and women that lost their lives so that we could live in this great country today.
In some countries around the world, it is as if time stops at 11 a.m. on November 11th. People stop whatever they are doing, bow their heads, and remember for 1 minute of the day. This type of remembrance ensures that Canadian history and the sacrifice that individuals made while serving Canada is persevered from generation to generation.
In a moment, we will have our moment of silence. After the moment of silence, you will hear the trumpet play. The last post. The last post signifies the end of a day and is also used in military funerals to signify the final resting spot of a soldier that made the ultimate sacrifice. Please join with me in a moment of the silence to remember the fallen, missing in action, and honor those who have served and continue serving this great country's armed services.
Now, as we near the end of the assembly, we will continue to focus on peace. Our next video is by Cat Stevens, and this is called The Peace Train.
Hi everyone, I'm Yusuf Cat Stevens. I once wrote a song called Peace Train, and now they've made it into a little picture book. And I'm going to sing that for you now. And if you know the tune, if you know the words, you can sing along. Now I've been happy lately, thinking about the good things to come. And I believe it could be something good has begun. Oh, I've been smiling lately, dreaming about the world as one. And I believe it could be someday it's gonna come. 'Cause out on the edge of darkness there rides the peace train. Oh, peace train, take this country, come take me home again. Now I've been smiling lately, thinking about the good things to come. And I believe it could be something good has begun. Oh, peace train sounding louder, glide on the peace train. Ooh, come on, peace train. Oh, peace train, holy roller, everyone jump upon the peace train. Ooh, come on, peace train. Now get your bags together, go bring your good friends too, 'cause it's getting nearer, it soon will be with you. Now come and join the living, it's not so far from you. And it's getting nearer, soon it will all be true. Oh, peace train sounding louder, glide on the peace train. Ooh, come on, peace train. Now I've been crying lately, thinking about the world as it is. Why must we go on hating? Why can't we live in bliss? 'Cause out on the edge of darkness there rides the peace train. Oh, peace train, take this country, come take me home again. Peace train. Ooh-ah, ee-ah, ooh-ah. Come on, the peace train.
The next song, I've Got Peace in My Fingers, will be performed by Mrs. Manuel and Mrs. Krause's class, and then by Mrs. Triguero's class.
Peace, peace, peace in my fingers, watch what I can do. I got peace, peace, peace in my fingers, wanna shake hands with you. I got peace, peace, peace in my fingers, watch what I can do. I got peace, peace, peace in my fingers, gonna shake hands with you. I got words, words, words in my head, watch what I can do. I got words, words, words in my head, I'm gonna talk things over with you. I got words, words, words in my head, watch what I can do. I got words, words, words in my head, I'm gonna talk things over with you. I got love, love, love in my heart, watch what I can do. I got love, love, love in my heart, I'm gonna give some to you.
I've got
Peace in my fingers, watch what I can do. I got peace, peace, peace in my fingers. I'm gonna shake hands with you. I've got words, words, words in my head. Watch what I can do. I got words, words, words in my head. I'm gonna talk things over with you. I got love, love, love in my heart. Watch what I can do. I got love, love, love in my heart. I'm gonna give some to you. I got peace, peace, peace in my fingers. Words, words, words in my head. Got love, love, love in my heart. I'm gonna give some to you.
Thank you for watching our Remembrance Day ceremony today. Our hope is that on November 11th, you and your families will be able to either attend a ceremony or take a moment to remember the sacrifices that soldiers have made to make sure that we were able to live in the great country of Canada.
Please in between lead the bearers down to the front entranceway with their wreaths and enjoy as Mrs. Hegberg's class shares what peace is. Thank you for attending our assembly today.
Merci pour écouter. Au revoir.
Dream that you did.